Hello and welcome to the live podcast, Win More on Purpose. Today we have Danny DelVecchio with us on video content, why video content helps you close more sales. For those of you who are new here, the agenda is going to be a conversation between me and Danny. We're all here learning together. Write down those questions. There's going to be a Q&A at the end. And just to start off, as we are live, anyone can put into the chat what it is that you're focusing on in your business today. What is it that you do, or where it is that you're coming in from? And, just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Yaacov Steinberg. And when I first went into the coaching space about 4.5+ years ago now, I noticed very quickly that people were able to build 6-7 figure business on their own. They're good at what they do. They're passionate. Some along the way, they learned how to speak to people. But what would ended up happening is they'd hit this glass ceiling. And a lot of times it was because they were making it up as they went along, or they didn't want to be salesy, that stereotypical used car salesperson, sleazy, pushy, getting people to buy things they didn't even really need or want. And that's where I came into the picture. Mindset, techniques, really helping people to have that confidence and clarity in knowing who they needed to reach out to, where to find them, what to say, how to say it, and really taking their business to that next level. I've had the pleasure of working with quite a number of pretty well-known people on LinkedIn, whether it be Chaya Fishman, Hoodie Bloch, Hoodie Greenberger, Ellie Bosch. And thank God, the people that have worked with me at the 6-7 figure realm have been able to grow by even 50% in the first 60 days of working with me. People at the 100K realm, give or take, have been able to grow by even 150% in the first 60 to 90 days. And solopreneurs just starting out, even doing only 4K a month, have been able to grow by 200, 240%, even in the first 45 days. Danny, really excited to have you here, man. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you help people. Let's get the show on the road.
Yeah, sounds good. So, believe it or not, when I started my own business in 2022, it was also a sales coaching business. And basically what I was doing was I was taking two areas that I was pretty strong on, right? So one was sales. I have a 20-year sales background. I've been everything from sales rep, sales trainer, sales director, sales manager, everything, right? And then also at the same time, I was doing my sales career alongside. I got into content creation because I started a podcast. And when I started podcasting, I realized something. I was like, you could either pay, if you want people to actually listen to the podcast, you can either pay to play or you can do organic social media. So I knew nothing about social media at the time, but I was like, I guess social media it is. I mean, this was a hobby, but I still wanted people to listen.
Right.
So I grew an audience of 500,000 people for that podcast. I had, huge communities on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. And I really learned how to do social media on the side while I was, still in my corporate sales career. And then when I went to start my own business in 22, I was kind of combining the two things that I knew best, sales and social media, and helping people to position themselves on social media and use it to sell. And basically what happened was I would tell everybody, I would say, hey, look, like if you want to be good at social media, or if you want to, and like actually convert it to sales, you need to be on video. So what happened was that people were like, okay, yeah, I get it. I got to be on video, but it also sucks because they don't know what to do. They don't have the time. There's just a number of reasons that people don't like being on video. And
Sure.
I was like, how can I solve this problem for my clients? So I came up with this idea where I would basically take some of the skills that I learned in podcasting and interviewing, and I would essentially remote record an interview with my clients and then cut it up into video content for them. And I started doing that kind of as like a side thing. And that has now since become my main business. So now what I do is I own a niche video marketing agency that helps people to create videos remotely. And I'm working with founders, solopreneurs, agency owners to create content for social media, very high quality video content and do it in a short period of time. So helping them to protect their time, helping them to grow their presence on LinkedIn and YouTube or whatever other social channels that they're sharing their content on. But then also, to make videos that drive revenue to your business. So, create that curiosity around your products, services, offers, and all of that. So that's in a nutshell what I'm doing now.
Absolutely amazing. And I've seen some of the impact that you're having on people, and it's absolutely fantastic. And we've spoken off camera about, the sales coaching background that we share. A lot of people don't understand the differences between the different forms of content that there is, specifically on LinkedIn as an example. And obviously, you mentioned, why video content and why video content is so important. Maybe you can even elaborate on that a little bit. But what are some of the differences between written, video, and images when it comes to LinkedIn specifically?
Yeah, sure. So, as far as, with images, really the advantage of having these images on your content is the image acts as a visual hook. And if you have a really strong image, and that could just be a very like eye-catching, high-resolution photo, or it could be an infographic, or it could be a tweet that has, some words on it that really capture your attention. The whole purpose of having that image is to capture people's attention, right?
Yep.
And that's why typically a post with an eye-catching image will do better than a post that is just completely, written text. If you want to bring people in with written text, the hook has to be that good that you're going to get people to hit that see more button and continue to read and everything like that, right? Where I see video content and the advantage of being on video content is I believe it's the easiest way to convey your personality through content, right? I think it's very difficult to convey your personality through the written word. I think the people that do it really well, like those are the best copywriters on LinkedIn. Like the top copywriters on LinkedIn, like if you're following some of the, large LinkedIn creators, influencer types that have hundreds of thousands of followers, they are excellent writers because they know how to put their personality into the writing. And I think that the average person, like that is very difficult to do in the written word. And it takes a lot of time and a lot of practice. Where I see video is the advantage is I can pop on video. I can literally hit the record button on my camera and say what's on my mind. And people are going to see my face. They're going to hear my voice. They're going to see my expressions and, how I talk with my hands because I'm Italian, everything like that. And it builds this level of comfort and this level of familiarity that is very difficult to do with the written word. And like I said, I think the best copywriters can do it with the written word. But that's why I suggest to people, if you start to mix in 2-3 videos a week into your content, and build that familiarity, what's ultimately going to happen is, again, you're going to build know, like, trust factor with people. And on top of that, the other thing that you're going to do is you're going to make your sales process easier. And this goes back to sales. So obviously you and I have a soft spot for that, right? So
just a little bit.
When I jump on a sales call, it's there is literally no pressure at all. It is the most chill, calm, and relaxing sales process that you could possibly have, because people jump on and they see me and I look exactly the same way I look when they see me in the videos, and they've seen a bunch of videos from me, and I show up looking just like this with a hat or like a t-shirt or a hoodie or whatever it is. And people are just like, oh, it's the guy. It's him. It's Danny. I've seen all those videos. And I jump right into it. And I say, hey, look, I'm going to tell you a little bit about my program. I'm going to tell you how it works. And if you like it, at the end, I'll make you a nice offer, right? and people are just like, yeah, cool. Like, and it's a conversation. There's no like the defenses are down. Usually when you jump into a sales call, people automatically have the defenses up because they're prepared to be sold to, right? And it's like when you walk into a retail store and somebody says, "Can I help you?" Immediately you're like, "No, thank you. You could
Zone of
use help. You
resistance,
could
Josh
need
Braun
help."
calls it.
What's up?
The zone of resistance.
Oh, exactly. I mean, you could walk into that store for that one specific thing. And like, let's say it's a giant department store, like a Macy's or something like that. You can walk into that Macy's for one specific thing, and you're going to go walk, and someone's going to approach you right away, and they're going to be like, "Can I help you?" And you're going to be like, "No, thank you." And then you're going to proceed to walk around the store for the next 20 minutes trying to find what that person could have pointed you at in 1 second, right?
Yep.
That's the level of resistance that people have when it comes to sales. And if you can tear down that level of resistance before ever getting on a call and getting into a sales situation, you are going to be a lot more confident as a salesperson.
Yeah, for sure. And it's hilarious because this goes back to, realness and just being you and allowing people to taste who you are. I mean, my Calendly link is a great example of this. Like literally the description is, are we meant for each other? And then the meeting, literally when someone comes in, it's like, this meeting is for the two of us to get to know each other, to see if we want to spend the rest of our lives together in coaching matrimony. Oh, just kidding. Don't worry. It's to get to know each other, have a good time, and see where it leads. But right away, like that's going to push away anybody who doesn't like my sense of humor, what it is that I'm about. And it's just a chill conversation. They come in, it's like, okay, tell me what's going on. How can I help? And people, the same thing. Like they see the videos, they see the content. And when you get really good at just giving over who you are, what you're about, and people are always concerned whenever anybody on LinkedIn starts talking about being real and all, that's the word authentic. They're like, but I don't want to air my dirty laundry. No one said that's what being real was, right? We just said that you should be you. No one's got the song that you have to sing. So if you let us taste who you are and let us feel who you are, so then we might want to be around you, especially if we can relate to you and the things that you've been through in your life. So then we're going to want to be around you, right? Some of the things that like you had done in your content led us to have a conversation together. And all of a sudden we're on a podcast together, right? And that could never have happened if you wouldn't have done the work necessary to make me feel like, oh, this guy's super chill. I definitely want to be in this guy's peripheral and speak to him, right? And it's that exact piece. And I think that's what brings us into the next speech, which is why specifically LinkedIn, right? And this goes right into that because a big part of the reason people are on there is because they want to do business with other people, right? Google's got its intention. Instagram has its intention, TikTok, and LinkedIn has its own, right? Every single platform has its specific intention of what it's meant to do and why people are there. And LinkedIn is very business oriented, right? It's a B2B platform for the most part. And people are there to learn, to see, to try new things, and to have conversations and to network. It's an online networking event 24/7, 365, right? So I think that's a big piece of why video on LinkedIn is such a big part of that sales funnel as well. What would you say to that?
Yeah, it's interesting because you know I started when I started the video business, when I realized like I had something and it was working and I had a couple clients that were on it, and I was like, maybe I should be pushing this out. I was an Instagram creator because I was also, it was a side hustle at the time. I still had a full-time job and I was working for a big company, and I had my boss and his boss and their boss and all my peers and everything on LinkedIn. So I couldn't be out there promoting this side hustle on LinkedIn. So I was doing that on Instagram, and literally I was not selling anything. Right. And this is a lot about, going to where the market, like being on the right channel to where your target audience is hanging out. And the reason I wasn't selling it on Instagram is because people on Instagram had been doing reels, and they didn't have a choice. Like they had to be doing reels. Like if you weren't doing reels, you were getting left behind already. Right.
Right.
So, people had already kind of broke past that level of like, hey, I can do video. I'm comfortable doing video. I don't really need you to help me do it. And when I came and I started on LinkedIn, I wasn't even sure that I was going to keep the video business open. I actually ended up shutting it down. I shut the entire, like, I had a business partner and we threw in the towel on the video service. And then as I started to create content on LinkedIn and observe what was happening on this platform, I was like, wait, hold on a second. I'm like, there are a ton of people on this platform that want to put out more content, that want to put out video content, that just don't really know what to do or how to do it or how to execute it.
Right.
And sure enough, I went to, somebody who is an authority on LinkedIn, has a giant following, was doing LinkedIn training for companies, as well as ran a community for solopreneurs, and which also helps them with their grow on LinkedIn amongst other things, but that's part of it. And, I said to her, I said, this is the service that I have with this video thing. And I was like, do you think that there is a market for this on LinkedIn? And she goes, yeah, people should be lined up to buy that. And I was like, all right, cool. So then I said to her, I was like, let's do it for you. Let's create some video content on the house, free of charge. All I ask is that if you like what we do together, you share it, tell some people about it. So she created we did a session. She created some videos. She posted the first video, wrote me a beautiful testimonial that she paired up with the video.
Amazing.
7 clients I signed that day.
Boom.
That day from that one person. And that's really when the business took off.
Right.
From there. Like, that's when I got the momentum. That's when the confidence started to come. Like, okay, this is a real thing. People want this. People want to buy it. And, then for the next part was, okay, how do I, iterate this and make it a good offer, because I didn't really have it. It was like, oh, I do this video thing. It wasn't like an offer, like a packaged offer.
Right.
So, I hired a great coach to help me package that offer up. Then I worked with other teams to help me grow the business and focus on selling and yes. So my business has essentially been because of LinkedIn. Like, my entire business was made because of LinkedIn. And if I never made the move from taking my content on Instagram and moving it over to LinkedIn, I probably wouldn't be sitting here with you today. I'd probably be a sales manager or a sales trainer or something like that, right? But instead, I'm helping people make videos specifically for LinkedIn and now also for YouTube. That's because I think if there's any secondary platform that people should be paying attention to right now, that's the one.
Yeah, for sure. And my story is different, but yet similar in a way. Where once I came on LinkedIn, that I was a regular salesperson 4.5+ years ago when I first started this, and I was helping people on the side. I mean, I was a director of sales already at that point, and I had been pro bono, coaching for quite some time, for years already. But it was a side thing, and then I was on LinkedIn, and a whole roundabout way where I met one person, and I was like, she just needed some help when it came to follow up, and I was like, I'll help you. And one thing led to the next. End of 2019, all of a sudden, it was like, we're seeing a really, this person saw $40,000 in 30 days. Right from LinkedIn messaging, they had a decent following, and it was just getting the messaging down and understanding how to do things the right way. And just like that, it was like, okay, this is real. And she was like, you need to do this more. We can't have less of it. I was about to go into another corporate position. And I was like, I'll give it 2 weeks. If I can close enough clients in 2 weeks to prove to me that this could be a real thing, I'll do it. I closed 3 clients in those 2 weeks. I called the company. I was like, look, I'm never going to forgive myself if I don't try this. I'm like, I got to give this a shot. They're like, no problem. Doors wide open. Come back anytime. I haven't looked back 4.5+ years later, and it just took off. And I have clients that have come to me because of videos that I did years ago. Because I started very quickly on the platform doing videos, realizing, I don't remember if it was a challenge or something, that I realized video was the way to do it, because I'm not as great at the written word, even though I'm pretty good at it. And you have to be in a sales role. You have to get pretty good at the copywriting. And I've always been, pretty good at that type of stuff, but my power has always been my voice. And for the life of me, I had no idea how to just use audio, but video was like, okay, great. I'll press record. I'll do it. I'll do 50 takes, but eventually I'll get it right. And I got better as time went on. But like literally, I had some where it was just like, it took me forever to get that right shot and just do it the right way. So I was doing it in like one take. I didn't know anything about editing. And it was just raw stuff back in the day.
Sure.
And I have people that have reached out to me that like ended up becoming clients. He was like, just by the way, 3 years ago, I saw you on video and I'm like, I got to work with that guy when the time is right. So like it works because we're on the right platform where people want what it is that we have and they can get to know us in a way that you can't do in any other medium, right? There's 5 levels of communication. You've got, in person right there on the top, then it's going to be a video call, then it's going to be, a phone call, then direct messaging, then email. As soon as you get past number 3, which is phone, and you're already in audio, it drops significantly. The higher you can go, which means that you're in video, and in the 2 top ones, that's where all the magic happens because people can see your personality in a whole different way that they can't see when they just see you or when they just hear you or they just read what it is that you're trying to convey.
Right.
It's a whole different world.
Totally.
I think that one of the biggest pieces that people struggle with, and I know that I've heard this from so many people over the years, is how do I sell in video without feeling salesy? And I think that so many people struggle with this concept because they struggle with the whole idea of selling to begin with. And then the idea of making a video that, well, I'm on here to do business, so I have to sell in the video. But how do I do that without sounding like an absolute sleaze bag? I'm just lost. Forget it. I'm just not going to do video at all.
Right. Yeah. So I'll tell, here's the message for every single one of those people. Earn it. Earn it.
Such
because
truth.
here's the way that you earn it, by the way. This is how this is done. If I create a video and 98% of the video is me giving some sort of actionable advice, value, sharing my experience, sharing my insight, sharing my opinion on something that's happening in my industry, right? 98% of that is value. And if at the end I say, hey, by the way, if you want to make videos, like I can help you, DM me the word easy and let's chat. So a lot of people follow the 80-20 rule for content, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard the 80-20 rule for content? Have you ever heard that applied? It's basically 80% of your posts should be value posts, and then 20% of your posts should be promotional. Well, I do mine. I follow the 80-20 rule, but I follow it a little bit differently. I follow the 80-20 rule and still sell in every piece of content. And you know what? Mine is probably 90-10 and maybe even 95-5. Because basically what I'm doing is I am going to give you a bunch of value. And then at the end, I'm going to tell you about what I do and ask you if you need help with it. So like I flipped the 80-20 rule to be able to sell in every single piece of content. But because, and look, and like I said, I sell on every post. Like maybe every once in a while, like I'll tell a story or like I would do something that's unrelated to video, like completely. And I won't obviously sell on my, in those particular posts. But other than that, like I sell in almost every single post. No one has ever told me that I'm salesy. No one has ever be like, oh, I'm unfollowing this guy. All he does is like sell at every piece of content. It's never once happened. I get compliments on how valuable and how helpful my content is left and right all the time. People come to me and say, I love your content. I love your content. I love your content. Like I get that all the time. Nobody's ever given me shit about like, being too salesy ever.
Right.
So what I'm telling you is go out there and earn it. Go out. Like if every single post was me telling you, hey, I'm Danny and I have a video agency and I can help you make videos and this is how I do it. Obviously it's another story.
Right.
But if you have, if you are out there making good content, sharing your insights, sharing your experiences, sharing stories, giving people a piece of you, sharing your personality, you've earned it. You've earned the right to be able to tell people who you are, what you do, and what you offer, and how you can help them. Because the other thing is, if people don't know how you can help them, then they're
They're
probably never
not
going
going
to
to
buy
reach
from
out to
you.
you.
They're never going to buy from you. Like how many people are reaching out to you and be like, hey, what do you do? What do you offer? Like, because I think I'm going to need, no, they know what you offer. They need to
Right.
know what you need. They need to know. And then they're like, oh, you know what? That's something that could really help me. Let me reach out.
Yeah. Yeah, and the best part about this, and so many people get stuck on this point. I had someone reach out to me the other day because they were watching my content, and they were like, I've been thinking about putting out stuff, but how do you deal with like the fact that so many people can just take the content and do it themselves? I said, you missed the whole point, bro. I said,
Yeah.
if any one of those people can take it and do it themselves, those are not your clients to begin with. They, anyways, will learn it without you. Knowledge is free. It's implementation. That's the part that people need help with. That's where people are going to pay you for. So, as soon as any one of those people can take your content and run with it, those people were never going to be your clients, anyways. You're putting out this value for all of those people that can't do it without you giving them the knowledge, and they probably also need you for the implementation. That's where the money is. And it's just giving information and free tips and value and jumping on the video and being like, hey, 5 tips of how you can do videos better in your next post. That's it.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
that's what it is. And just giving that proper value that's high level. And this is the exact formula you need to follow. Done. Easy. Just like that.
right. It's like this, for example, I mean, even myself, right? I used to do all my own videos. I used to do all my editing and everything, right? I edited all my
Same.
own videos. And then I got to a point where like I had a bunch of clients and it was like, hey, I really need to, like, I'm struggling to come up with the time to make content. So I need to find like another way to do this. Well, what can I hand off? Well,
Right.
editing was the first thing that was like, well, I'm not even a good editor. You know what I mean? Like, let me hire a great editor. And I got the wizard Connor that does all the editing for me and for all my clients, I'm like, let me hand that off. And then now, now that gives me more time to be able to service the clients and whatever, right? So
You're
it's the
buying
same
back your
thing
time.
for the people that could potentially use your service, right? It's if you teach them how to do it and they respect you and appreciate you for teaching them how to do it, and then because you've taught them well and they've executed on it, then all of a sudden now they're busier, they have more clients, and they're like, hey, you know what? Like, I can't keep up with video anymore. Can't, I still want to put it out because it's doing the right thing for me, but I need somebody to help me with it. Who do you think the first person that they're going to come to is? The person that showed them how to do it in the first place.
Yep. And the best part of that is like even with my own service, right? It's very similar. It's not that I'm going to do anything for them, but as much as they can do themselves, and the reason I'm bringing this out is because for you it's a specific service. Oh, I don't have time anymore, so I can have Danny do the videos for me. But when it comes to other services, like sales coaching as an example, well, at the end of the day, if they're doing well because of whatever I've taught them, well, imagine what you can get if you were an actual client, right? So for anybody else who's not that specific service, it's when they have a taste of what it is that you have to bring to the table and they realize what it is that they can gain by that's when they realize, excuse me, what it is that they have to gain by actually bringing you on. And it's the same for anything that you want to, be talking about on LinkedIn.
Totally.
Anything.
I mean,
Um
believe me, I've hired a coach, for that exact for that exact reason, right? So when I was doing the Instagram stuff in the early days, I was like, I should probably look into joining like an Instagram program. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just
mhm.
trying to, I'm creating content. So I went to a free workshop and, there was a guy that I liked on Instagram. He was doing good content. I went to his free workshop. And in that free workshop, he's like, this is something that you should do. And this is going to get you more comments and more views or whatever, right? So I took his advice, exactly what he told me to do. And sure enough, that post got twice as many comments and twice as many views as any other post that I've ever done. The next day, I reached out to him and I was like, hey, man, thank you for that. Sign me up for the program. That's it. Like, if you can deliver somebody a quick win from your content, like your content can deliver somebody a quick win, an actionable tip that they can put into place immediately that delivers them a quick win, they will be back for more with their wallet out.
100%. Every single time. Every single time. And I think that one of the things that people get stuck on though is the fact that they're scared. It's out of my comfort zone. I don't look good on video.
Sure.
How do you help your clients overcome that?
Yeah, so there's two ways to do it, right? One is it's repetition, right? The more that you get good, the more that you do something, the better it's going to be. So for anybody that's new to video, I tell them that you need to do the 30-day challenge here. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to grab your phone, and every day for the next 30 days, I want you to talk into your phone for 30 seconds. My preference is that you talk about something that you did with a client that day, right? So it's like, hey, I had a client meeting, and in the client meeting, we reviewed this, and this, right? But I don't care if you didn't have a client meeting. I don't care if you record a video and be like, I went to the supermarket today and I bought eggs and milk and vegetables and bananas and you know what? I left my keys in the car, and whatever the hell happened that day, just get on the camera and talk about it. Right. And if you do this every single day for 30 days, now this is the key right here. You need to go, and you don't have to share this with anyone, by the way. All you're doing is recording into your phone, 30 seconds, just speaking into your phone, getting comfortable speaking. At the very end of the 30 days, you go back and you watch the first video, first one, right? Oh God, this was horrible, right? Then you go to day 30 and you're like, it's not so bad. Because that's all it really takes. Like, it doesn't take any more than 30 days. Like, at that 30-day mark, like, seriously, there's like this thing, 1% better every day, right? But when you start something brand new and fresh, day 2 is going to be like 100 times better than day 1. And day 3 is going to be like 50 times better than day 2. And day 4 is going to be like 25 times better than day 3. So like, by the time you get to day 30, you're like 1,000 times better than you were on day 1, right?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with anything. It's always about the repetitions, the consistency, and being accountable to yourself to do those things every single day so that you can allow yourself to be better at the end of it.
Right. And then the other thing is just come do it with me. That's
100%.
Because I mean, yes, for some people, I recommend them doing the 30-day challenge before they come in and speak to me. I recommend it for anyone. I mean, anybody, like anything that you can do to get more comfortable on camera before you come in and speak to me is a good thing, right? But I have, but like, I mean, really, the whole reason my service started was this is a really actually funny story. So I have a friend who I've been friends with him since we're like 14, 15 years old. We used to work together at this beach club in New York. And his name's Sal. And he's a very successful real estate agent in New York City. And he's like, look, he's like, I feel like I'm getting to the point where I need to put myself out there online. Right? So he's like, and I see what you're doing. And this is before I even had the video thing. This is just the coaching thing. Like, he's like, I watch your videos. I see what you're doing. And he's like, and I want to start getting myself out there. I said, okay, cool. So I start, coaching him, and I'm telling him, you got to do the videos. You got to do the videos. I said, here's what we'll do. Go record a video of yourself. Send it to me. All right. I'm going to do the editing for you. And this way I'll show you how to edit it so that it's good. I'm like, here's what I want you to talk about. So he sends me this video. And now, mind you, let me tell you a little bit about Sal. He's the guy that walks into a room and every girl is like, right? He's like the best looking guy. He's like movie star good looks, right? But he also has an extremely outgoing personality. He is comfortable speaking on stage in front of a bunch of people. He's just like one of those, he is a magnetic kind of person, right? I asked, so he goes to record this video, and I look at this video and I'm like, oh my God,
Where did
it
Sal
could,
go?
it could not be any worse. It could not be any worse. I'm like, this is as bad as it can possibly be. Right. So I was like, okay, Sal, I'm like, I got this idea. Come into this studio and let me just ask you a bunch of questions about real estate. Let's see how that works. And sure enough, we were chatting for about 20 minutes, and I was able to cut 10 videos. And that is when I knew that I had something. That was the point where I was like, this is it. This service works. And that's what I do for my clients now is you can come in, you can chat with me. I'm going to make it as comfortable as possible. You're going to give me the most authentic responses in your areas of expertise. Like, I'm not trying to trip you up, and like I'm trying to make you look good, right? And I have the ability and the unique ability based upon just me doing interviews for so many people and the podcasting space, and then doing thousands of videos for myself online, and now doing this for hundreds of clients. Like, I know how to bring out the best of other people on camera. That's my special talent, special skill. And I even changed my business. Like, I had somebody else that was doing the videos and he does a good job. And like, I changed the program to make it so that you have to work with me now. Because even though he was excellent at it, still not the same.
Yeah. And a lot of businesses go through that, when it's, understanding, who it is that needs to be doing those pieces of the business, because no one can do it like you. But at the end of the day, it's like, you gotta, once you realize what that superpower is, it's just stepping into it and embracing it with two hands. Be like, okay, this is what I'm meant to do. Um, One of the things you said earlier, like we spoke about the fact that there's written, there's videos, there's images, and the differences between them. I know that you and I have spoken about not getting rid of other forms of content like written content,
Totally.
even when you are doing video. The question then becomes, why shouldn't people get rid of the written word if video is so powerful?
So, first off, you never want to get rid of something that works. I mean, if something is working for you, like, I mean, you can evolve things that are working for you, right? You can make them better, whatever, but like to get rid of something that's working, it's tough. I mean, there may be certain instances, but like, I think that it's much better to get somebody to like, start to kind of step into video slowly and get their audience used to it a little bit, as opposed to like taking something that they've been doing for a long time and completely getting rid of it and replacing it with something completely different. Like, it's too drastic. It's a big drastic move that you're making.
Yeah.
I would say start with 2 videos a week. And then as you continue to become more confident on video, and as video continues to, bring in more clients or to bring in more leads or to get more views or get more engagement for you, like, then you will continue to add in more and more. Like, at this point right now, I think it's been almost a month since I've posted anything other than a video.
Right.
But it's a different scenario for me. Like, one, I sell video, like, so that plays into it, right? And two is like, it is my strong suit. Like,
Right.
I am way better at video than I am at writing. So I am going to lean into the things, like to lean into my strengths. And for people that are new at video, like, it's going to take you a while to get good. So if you're already like good at writing or okay at writing or something like that, like, lean into the things that you are doing well. And as you continue to get better at video and as it continues to provide the return that you're looking for, then you increase the volume of what you're doing. And maybe you totally replace it and maybe you don't.
Right. Yeah, I mean, even today, I mean, I post several times a day, but one of them is video for sure. Sometimes I'm doing a second one, but plenty of the times I stick to the other things that I know work. Whether it's a picture, whether it's going along with the text, which I do very often at this point because I know that it works. There's no reason to run away from it. And up until recently, and this is going to delve into the next piece that I wanted to talk to you about, but up until recently, video wasn't getting as much love as it is now. Right. So it wasn't as easy to be consistent with it because so many people that were putting so much into it just weren't seeing the returns. I think that a lot has changed on LinkedIn recently when it comes to video. We've talked about obviously how video works really, really well at this point. And, there are people who still say that video doesn't work. And obviously, I'd love to hear what you have to say to them. Obviously it would be like, yes, it does. But the
Yeah.
video feed is a big piece that's affecting LinkedIn right now.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of people on LinkedIn that will tell you that video doesn't work. Video doesn't perform, quote unquote, perform. Video, quote unquote, doesn't work, right? And they're basing that on traditionally, if you post a post with an image and some text and some good text that's well formatted or whatever, that's going to get more likes, comments, impressions. And that traditionally that has been the case, right? Video doesn't get the love from the algorithm that some of the other pieces of content do. But you need to also understand that performance is subjective, right? Like what somebody that is looking to grow to 100,000 followers, and somebody that is looking to sell to 1,000 followers has a different idea of what performance is. They have a different goal of what they're trying to accomplish on the platform, right?
Right.
So like this whole idea of like it doesn't perform well, right? Now, what we're seeing on video with LinkedIn right now, something's up. I don't like, we're seeing like all these videos go viral now, including myself, right? I've had, last week I had 2 videos, back-to-back videos go viral over like, I think it was like between the 2 of them, it got a combined over 400,000 views, back-to-back videos, right? I had another client the other day, got 411,000 views in like 24 hours. I had a client yesterday. She posted her first video, 100,000 views. I had another client that was like, Josiah, he got 250,000 views. And I'm just like, there's something wrong here. There's something wrong. I don't like, I mean, yes, look, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. It means that LinkedIn is prioritizing video. It means that your videos are getting seen on that video feed. But what you really need to look at is, I looked at my videos with 200,000 views on them, and they have less likes and less comments than a video that has 3,000.
Yeah.
Okay. So before you get all excited about these viral videos that are happening now, and I'm not a big viral fan of like trying to go viral in your content. Like that's not my thing. My content is more geared towards how do I speak to the audience that I want to speak to, and how do I get their attention as opposed to like how do I get more attention, right? So I think LinkedIn's figuring out how impressions are measured on the video feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they are inflated a little bit right now. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm happy that we're seeing this, and I'm happy that people are excited about it.
Right.
But when you look at a video that does 200,000 and a video that does 3,000, and it has the exact same engagement, if not less engagement,
there's something
fishy. That's a red flag. It's a red flag, man. And
yeah, for sure. And look, I haven't experienced the virality yet. I'm looking forward to it. But but look, at the end of the day, it's the biggest difference between vanity metrics versus what are you actually trying to get out of it, right? Do I want a tremendous amount of reactions and engagement, or do I want more clients? Right? That's a big piece to it. And ultimately, a lot of the people that have been pushing video, yourself, myself, a couple of other people on the platform, ultimately, a big part of it was it allowed people to get to know us, like we said earlier, in a way that helped them to move forward with our sales process in a way that nothing else did. right? So for us, it's not necessarily, yeah, is it helpful to have that many more people engaging with the post? Of course, because then more people can be impacted by what it is that we're trying to teach, right? And that's a big part about what both of us, really stand to do is we want to be impacting people and enhancing their lives. We want to be of service to them. So that is a big, add-on that we can get from that. But ultimately, we're also on here to do business. And those vanity metrics versus people actually the value that we can get from people actually moving forward with us. A post that has, like you said, a couple, even 30, 40, 50 reactions to it, even that has 7 leads coming in is so much better than some post that's going to have 3,000 reactions and no leads coming in, right? And then there's that
Yeah.
second piece, which is the virality versus the audience. Ultimately, at the end of the day, having a post go viral is going to be really fun. It's going to feel really good, and it might boost, the amount of followers or even connections that you get. But the one problem with that is those are what many people would call ghost followers. They're not really going to engage with the majority of content you put out, and that's just going to weigh you down, right? You want to stay consistent with the type of people that can buy from you. And those are the people that we want ultimately engaging with our content because they're the people we can help the most.
Right. Absolutely. And I spent a lot of time on Instagram before this,
Right.
before coming over to LinkedIn, and I watch very closely like what's happening with Instagram Reels there and everything now, right?
Hmm.
And now that everything on Instagram is an interest-based algorithm, like there's all these people that that they've got hundreds of thousands of followers and they built up like really strong audiences, but they are getting like 300 views on a reel or something like that.
Yeah.
With 100,000 followers, and they're getting 300 views on a reel. Like, and they're like they want to kill themselves. like it's painful for them, right?
It's horrible.
Um, again, it's a lot of it is because they grew these. What's happening is when they put out these reels and like so few people are interacting with it that are in there that or so few like first level connections are interacting with it. That's not a good thing because
Right.
that's how they measure. Like if you want, just to give you like a quick lesson on like how algorithms work. Algorithms, the way that an algorithm works is what it's going to do is it's going to take your piece of content and it's going to share it to 2 different groups. It's going to share it to a group of people that are your connections, and it's going to share it to a group of people who are not connected to you. And when the people who are connected with you react to that post, it's going to send that post out to more of the people that are connected with you. That's why you want your connections to do reactions, right?
Right.
But when it sends it out to the people that are not connected to you and they start to react to it, that's when you have virality.
Right.
When you have people that are outside of your connections interacting with your posts, that's how you create a viral type of video, right? Or a piece of content, whatever. So the goal should never be virality. I mean, at least for my clients, for what I want to accomplish, or for what my clients want to accomplish, that's not the goal.
Right.
But if you are trying to build 1 million followers so that you could turn around and sell people like a 99-cent product or something like that, like go for it. Like make viral content, enjoy.
Good luck.
But that, yeah, it's a tough one. And like, right now the videos popping off or the virality on the videos, it's like it's messing with my head a little bit because like I want to be excited about it, but I also want to like bring people back down to earth and say like there's something up.
Yeah, for sure. I want to open the floor to Q&A. For anybody that has any questions, you can feel free to put them into the chat. While we're waiting on that, I think one of the biggest pieces that people are curious about when it comes to videos, what are the type of equipment that people need to just get started?
Yeah, it's very simple. You just need a smartphone. like I filmed
You want
them
to get really fancy, get a ring light.
Yeah. So like I film the majority of my videos with my smartphone. I do have a camera, but like honestly, I barely even use it. My phone
Hmm.
does a great job. But basically you can significantly level up the quality of your videos for $50. $50 is what it would cost you to significantly level up. And that's essentially a light and a microphone. And if you really want to buy cheap ones, like you can get the light and the microphone for a total like $50 combined on Amazon.
Yeah,
And
easy.
like you are going to significantly level up the quality of your videos. For me, my setup is not really expensive. Like I have two lights on either side of my desk opposite me. I think I spent $89 on those two softbox lights.
Hmm.
And I mean, this microphone that I use for podcasting is a little bit more expensive. Um, but I also use a lapel microphone that I used the lapel microphone very long time for that I spent $49 on. And I just replaced it with a more expensive one. So like you don't need to go out, you don't need to spend a lot of money. Like equipment is not that big of a deal. Like it's so much better to, I mean, yes, good quality video is going to make a difference as far as performance wise. People like if you have good quality video and you have crisp sound, people are going to pay attention to your stuff more and it's going to stand out and be more memorable.
For sure.
So, but
The
I don't,
message, I
it
think,
doesn't
is
mean
like,
to go out and spend a shit ton of money. Like
yeah.
keep it,
Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the message that's like the number one
of
piece, like
course.
getting that clear. I myself, I mean, all my podcasts, I'm also recording from a second angle, so I'm using a lapel mic, and I also have two lights here, but mine aren't even softbox lights. They're two ring lights. Simple,
That
cheap,
works.
easy to use. I happen to like the warm light more than sunlight. It gives my face more of a natural look as opposed to looking as pasty as I really am. Uh, but other than that, like it's just that simple. Like you're using your phone, it's gonna come out in 4K, which is the best type of video to be able to put out because you can zoom in and it's not gonna change, make everything pixelated and stuff like that. And that's why phones are a really good place to start. We have a question here in terms of what's the best way to start videos off with a good hook and some good CTAs. So that's a great question.
Okay, cool. So, the best thing to do with your hook is, I mean, there's a couple things that you could do. Number one is research other hooks that work. Okay. And then figure out how to apply the same style of hook to your video. Right.
Yeah.
So if, for example, and let's see, I have some client recording sessions coming up today. Right. Um, okay. So this is, I got my man Mo. I have a coaching session. I have a video recording session with Mo, and he's a coach for solopreneurs. Okay. Here's a hook. Here's a hook that I got for him. Last month, Intel announced that they are laying off 15,000 people. Okay. People like, holy shit, Intel's laying off 15,000 people. I caught your attention. Okay. Let's see. You don't need, here, you ready for this? You don't need any type of fancy equipment to make videos. All you need is people like, there you go. Like I am basically building curiosity. Your hook should want to create curiosity to make people want to keep watching. Right. Whatever, and whether you create curiosity by like FOMO, right? So it's like, hey, here's the only two pieces of equipment that you need to get a super high quality video, and it costs you less than $50.
Right.
Like if I just said that, you want to know, you want to stick around and find out what those two pieces are, right?
Even if you want to stick around to
Yeah,
find
even
out.
if you're like, well, what does Danny think? Like, you know what I mean? All right. So create something FOMO, bold statements always work. You know what I mean? Like if you say
Secrets.
something that kind of goes against the status quo, or something like that, that's always kind of gets anything that you can use to capture people's attention and draw them in. And then also if you can create a second hook to even draw them in further.
Yeah.
Like if you almost like something that grabs their attention and then something that really draws their interest in it even a little bit further. That's a good look. What was the other part? Was there another part to the question?
CTA.
Oh,
What
CTA.
are good ways of ending those videos?
CTA. All right. So basically what I do is two types of call to actions. I do a more in-depth call to action which is essentially where I would say, hey, if you want to get some help creating your video content and put it on easy mode, DM me the word easy, right? That is like, I am telling people exactly what I want them to do. That to me is a more in-depth call to action. Or you can just do what I call a light call to action, which is like, hey, and if you need help making some videos for your business, holler at your boy. Or like, if you need any more help making videos for your business, hit me up. Like, that is a very light, easy call to action. And I think that if you combine like some light call to actions with some more like direct call to actions as telling people exactly what you want them to do, that's the best way to balance it.
Beautiful. Amazing. Yeah. And I would say there's really not much to add on that. When it comes to the CTAs, a lot of times, people get stuck in, making it too complicated. Please keep it as simple as possible, right? The acronym KISS is there for a reason. Just keep it
Yes.
sweet and simple, right? The
Yes.
more simple you can make it, Danny's specifically using the word easy. It's a 4-letter word. It's easy, and it's not going to be complicated for anybody, right? For myself, a lot of my content, I end off, the word pack, right? My logo's 3 wolves, right? So I use pack. It's 4 letters. It's easy. It's not complicated. Anybody could put it in. If I was going to use the word strategy, right? It's going to be a lot harder for people to go ahead and send that to me. They're like STR, like forget it, right? You lost me already, right? You got to keep it super easy. And the hook, a lot of times, one of the ways to come up with what are going to be good hooks, know your audience and understand what is that they want to hear about. What are the things that they might not know? And what are the things that you can provide value? Even if you think they might know about it, play around with that, because so many times I know I've been proven again and again, and I'm sure that Danny could say the same. Things that we thought people knew, you'd be amazed at what people felt that they didn't really know. So those are really, really great ways of easing into those two things. We have another question here about what's the recommended number of videos to post per week if I'm just starting out with video?
2.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
I would say either 2, max 3, but I think that's already too many.
I think if you're just breaking into
1
it,
or 2.
Yeah, I think if you're just breaking into video, start with 2. I don't think one is not enough to get you like into the rhythm of making videos and getting better at it. Okay.
Yeah.
2 is enough for you to get into the rhythm of making videos and continue to improve and get better at it. And then also to get you and to warm up your audience to you being on video. Like, you need to warm up your audience to you being on video a little bit. Like, they're not used to it yet. They need to kind of see you. So 2 is a good start.
Okay, let's just go into the next question so that it's not too big of a jump there. The question was, do you recommend doing 10-second snippets start stop or 45 seconds continuous? Interesting question.
If you're new, 45-second continuous. If you are like a pro, and then you can do start and stop. But I think, again, if you're a newbie to getting, you need to get comfortable sharing your ideas and thoughts on camera. And if you can do that in one continuous speech, I highly suggest that, because if you do it the other way, where you're doing like 10-15-second clips at a time, like then it could start to sound a little bit scripted, and you definitely don't want that.
Yeah. And I mean, even for myself, and I've been doing video for years now, the start stop is a whole new thing for me. Like I've tried it a couple of times, and it's still something that it takes time getting used to. It's a whole new way of doing things. Okay, this has been fantastic. Just to as we end off here, I think that it's really important for people to realize. I mean, I have a page of notes, and I could try to do everything all at once. I'm probably going to fall flat in my face, because ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that you're doing one thing at a time. Implementation needs to be slow. If you try to do everything all at once, then you are going to be having a really hard time to put everything into play all at once.
I appreciate you joining us for this podcast today. And if there's any way that I could be a resource for you, you could find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Danny DelVecchio. You'll find me right away. I wear this backwards hat. We appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in today. See ya.
anybody who wants to, hit up Danny, as he said, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn. For anybody who wants to hit myself up, you can definitely reach out to me as well. I'll put my contact information into the chat, whether it's WhatsApp. Danny's LinkedIn is in there, and my Calendly link. Um, like I always say at the end of these podcasts, these are here as a live podcast. We speak about things that are timely, interesting, that you can add to your skill set toolbox. If you loved this and you want to take your sales game to the next level, feel free to book a free 30-minute strategy call. There's no strings attached. They do go quickly, so definitely book one. And Danny, we really appreciate you. Thanks so much for being here, and thank you to everyone else. Take care and have a great rest of your day.